coaches, whether you go. We think it does. At East Texas Baptist University, our students are living the bigger picture through an experience unlike any other. It's more than a university, it's an opportunity. Come see for yourself. Learn more online at etbu.edu or call 800-804-ETBU.
Good afternoon and welcome to ETBU Extra, live from CC's Pizza in Marshall, Texas. Each Wednesday we're here to talk ETBU Tiger football, cross country, volleyball, as well as ETBU soccer. Each Wednesday from noon to 1 p.m. the buffet is $5, which includes the drink at CC's Pizza. Thank you for clicking in this afternoon on the ETBU Sportsnet. In just a moment we'll talk to the head coach of the ETBU Tigers, Josh Ergel. I want to say congratulations first to two ETBU athletes. First to Landon Price, a member of the men's cross-country team. He was named the ASE Runner of the Week for this week. And also congratulations to ETBU Tiger football quarterback Josh Warmington, picking up the American Southwest Conference Offensive Player Week. His third time this season that he has won that award. Joining me today on the show will be my partner in the booth this Saturday night as ETBU plays Howard Payne University, Jason Souls. And Jason, you didn't get a chance to go down to TLU, but I know you kept watch of what the score was during the game. What did you think about the game? Even though you weren't there, you kept a good eye on it.
Yeah, actually, I was at the ETBU soccer games over at Laterno, and with the earbuds in, I was one of those fans living and dying with that exciting game that was down there. I hope this week a little bit different result. I'll put that on Coach to get that right, but I know the fans are excited and looking forward to seeing the same type of game this week, although coming out in the Tigers' favor.
ETBU traveled to Seguin, played Texas Lutheran University. They lost 55-49, but Coach, I've heard you say this already. Your Tigers stuck with the 18th ranked team in the nation and almost pulled it off at the end.
Yeah, Mike, we're really excited about where this team's going and what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish. I really believe that this group's going to see a perfect game, their perfect game out there. We're striving to do that every week, and we have not reached that yet. We haven't played perfect in all three phases of the game, and but we're getting closer. And when you can go on the road to a hostile environment, play the 18th ranked team in the country, and do extremely well in the game, I'm very, very proud of them. And we'll learn from the mistakes we made and continue to get better even this week.
Now with 18 seconds remaining in the ball game, you're only 6 points down, kicking an onside kick, and that kick was so close to being good.
Yeah, another half a yard, and we recovered it. We just recovered it 9.5 yards instead of 10, and I have full confidence in our guys, the way they were believing in themselves and the way they were executing it. We recovered that at 10 yards, and when they give us that football, we're fixing to throw a Hail Mary and win the ball game. And so our sidelines were excited, but the big bag went down the wrong side of that 45-yard line, and so we came up a tad bit short again.
Before we talk more about that loss to Texas Lutheran University, kind of highlight some players that helped you on the scout team prepare to have such a very competitive game against an unbeaten team in Texas Lutheran.
Yeah, Mike, I love to brag on our scout team guys, because I really feel like, I know they are the stars of the future for the Tigers. They're names that you're going to see for years to come, but they do a phenomenal job of getting our guys ready to go. And this week we had a big task of trying to contain a running back that was very, very special and is leading the country in all-purpose yardage. And so on offense, the guy that helped our defense get ready was Kenny Mason from Paris, Texas. Kenny Mason's a phenomenal young man and a phenomenal football player. You'll see him in the slot like a Roy Butler type player, and we used him in the backfield just because of the nature of who we were playing. He did a phenomenal job last week. On getting our offense ready on defense, Mitchell Penny's a safety for us from Brownsboro, Texas, and he did a phenomenal job getting our offense ready to go and just giving them a look. And then Cody Brantley's a young man from Mount Pleasant, Texas, and he did a great job on special teams. And those were our three special teams player of the week, three kids from East Texas, just helping our other guys get ready to go.
Let's talk about that loss to Texas Lutheran University. We're going to talk to Kendall Robertson here in just a minute. But, this young man, a transfer senior in, 172 yards, I believe. He had a very great game running. What was working? Obviously, the offensive line was blocking very well.
Yeah, I always like to brag on those guys up front. And we got the number 2 ranked offense in the country right now on total yards. And they're doing a phenomenal job, and it all begins up front. I mean, they're protecting Josh Warburton and allow him to get the ball out of his hand to some special receivers. And then when Josh turns around to hand it off to a running back, we've got several of them that are doing an outstanding job. Seems like a different one steps up every week. Kendall Roberson's actually he's a junior, so we got 2 years with Kendall, and we're excited about that. And he just this week he stepped up. You know, big time players make big plays in big games, and we consider Kendall Roberson a big time player.
Yeah, and of course, Kendall coming back from that injury in week 1 had to be chomping at the bit, and we'll ask him about that later. Who are some of the other guys, Coach, that really performed? Defensively, gave up a lot of points, but there were a lot of key performers that made plays and had impact on the game.
Yeah, I really felt going into the week, last week in preparation, I really felt like our defense had the best week of practice we'd had all year. Well, we come out early in the game. In the first 3 possessions, we have 2 interceptions, and one young man picks those balls off. And Steven Segler, I had 2 interceptions in 3 possessions. That's kind of unheard of. That's crazy. And really, the first play of the game, they hit a run on us. We come back. Desmond Oliver, who's been playing outstanding the past few weeks, gets his big old paw up in the air, bats the ball. Steven Segler's Johnny on the spot, catches it, returning 18 yards. And we come on the second series and get them to punt the football, and then we go third series, I believe, and Steven Segler makes an unbelievable. I mean, he's dropping into his weak side coverage. There's a receiver coming from the strong side. He dives and makes his unbelievable interception. So Steven had a great game. Also had 11 tackles, I believe, in the game, and just was playing outstanding defensively and really helped our defense get off to a good start.
We also keep mentioning Hardy Hill every week. Where's this kid comes from? Houston John Reagan High School. Once again, he led your team in tackles with 13. What's working for him out there?
Well, Hardy's a very active player. Plays extremely hard. He's also into the boundary. In our defensive scheme, in a 4-2-5, people typically they try to attack the weak side. So you see those guys on that end, on that side of the football. They have more tackles, but they have to. And that's where the ball's going. But Hardy is a phenomenal young man, just a freshman for us. He's got a lot of football left to play. Does a great job in coverage, and he's not afraid to come up and put a lick on somebody either.
Before we talk about a player from Hallsville, Texas, your quarterback, I want to talk about a defensive player from Hallsville, another East Texas kid, Brandon Powell. He's a senior, but he had 7 tackles in the ball game and performed very well.
Absolutely, he's gotten better every week, and he's kind of he's a transfer from Arkansas, but right here in Hallsville, and we changed his position a little bit, so it's kind of taken a little bit to get in the groove. And learn our scheme, but man, once he's really done a really good job. And when you start mentioning those big guys either up front or either side of the ball, we're starting to get to that polar bear weather, what I call. And when that temperature starts lowering, they start playing a little better. They feel better about themselves. So those big guys, we need them to continue to get better as the season goes on.
So let's talk about Josh Warmington, your quarterback, once again named the American Southwest Conference Offensive Player of the Week. And that's the 3rd time this year. His performance against TLU in that loss, 22 of 37, no interceptions, 426 yards, and 3 for 4 touchdowns, and even got a rushing touchdown at 12 yards. What can you not say about Josh's performance this year for your Tigers?
Well, when I brag on Josh every week, I brag on the fact that it's his character and it's who he is as a person. And for us as Tigers, we really try to focus on what is off the field translates and correlates to everything we do on the field. And I really believe that, and especially with Josh Warpton, what an outstanding young man from right here in East Texas. And he's just comes from a good family, and he's done a really outstanding job of operating our offense. And, the best thing he does is just takes what the defense is given. And that's very, very tough to do for young men sometimes. They want to try to make too much happen or try to make the big play. I mean, we've got great, talented guys all around him. Just get it to him and let them be special. And so he's getting a lot of accolades right now, and he's playing outstanding football. And it's a team concept over there on that offensive side of the ball. You don't know who's going to catch it every time before we snap it. You don't know if we hand it off or hand off to somebody very, very special. But 3 times being named the American Southwest Conference Player of the Week in 5 games, that's pretty special.
Coach, just to kind of go along with that, last year Josh, with all the injuries at the quarterback position, ended up taking the bulk of the snaps. How important is that for him in this quick-hitting, pacey offense for him to be able to have that experience? And have we seen the best of him? Where's his ceiling?
Yeah, last year was crucial in his development. We did have to play a lot of quarterbacks, and I really felt like when Josh was in there, he was playing extremely well, and we were excited about him. And in those 5 starts, he almost throws for 2,000 yards now last year, and that's with a 1,000-yard back there in Toy Glover. And so I really felt like going into the year when the quarterback situation was resolved and Josh wins it. I mean, we were going to be good no matter who was the quarterback. Man, when Josh took the reins, he really took off. And he's making everybody around him better. And this guy, the ceiling, I don't really know. I mean, he's our offense as a group is number 2 in the country. as a total offense. Josh Warburton himself, he's the fifth-ranked passer in America out of 244 Division III playing football schools. So that's pretty good right now. But like I said earlier, us as a football team, us as an offense, defense, special teams, we haven't put together a full game. And, offensively, what we're really preaching to them this week and really trying to push the point home, which they should get regardless, is we have a lot of yards. We scored a lot of points early in the fourth quarter. We have 3 3-and-outs out of 4 possessions. Well, that's where we lost the ball game, was in the ball game. So really trying to focus on the little details to make us better and really focus on finishing.
One thing I noticed that Josh had such a good game is you had some receivers who had some excellent catches in that ball game. I'm talking about Stephen Alford, 7 catches for 165 yards. Tyler Bates, 7 catches for 137 yards. It seemed like anything thrown to them that night they could catch.
What's really special about this receiving core is that all of them are really good, number one. But number two, when you throw it to them, they fight and they battle and they snatch the ball out of the air. You don't see any kind of Willie Mays catches where they're just kind of letting the ball come to them. They're attacking the football in the air, and that's what big-time receivers do. And that's how your completion percentage goes up. That's how you get so many yards as a receiver, because every ball's thrown to you. You assume that it is yours and you are taking that ball out of the air. You have Stephen Alford has a career night in receiving yards, and you have Tyler Bates have a career night in receiving yards. Tyler Bates caught a lot of footballs around here, and he had more yards he's ever had before in a game. And both of them scored 2 touchdowns receiving. So it's a really good night for those guys receiving. And then, Kendall Roberson in the backfield, that young man has a career night rushing yards. So a good night offensively overall.
You talked about those 3-and-outs in the fourth quarter, and a big part of that was the penalties, 12 penalties for over 200 yards. I believe those are both season highs. How do you address that this week? How do you is it something that's easy? You say, guys, we put together a great performance. We were this close, and these are the small things? Or is it something that, there's more to it than that?
Yeah, no, I mean, that was, that game in itself had a bunch of penalties in itself. There was 21, I believe, by both teams. That was something we're not used to. I mean, we've averaged 6 or 7 penalties a game, really, and so we've been playing kind of clean football and with no setbacks, and that really allows you to get forward, move forward as an offense. You're right, and it put us in some long yard situations that we weren't staying ahead of the chains. Really kind of slowed our offensive situations, so it really did hurt us. And we will address those with some reminders in practice this week, and we will continue to do so. And our young men understand what it means to be disciplined, and they understand what it means to play disciplined football and how that translates onto the field. And I have no doubt that they'll clean that back up, and we'll be back to the normal Tigers that are playing good, clean football that with no setbacks and not really hurting ourselves, but really, taking steps forward every play.
You're listening to ETBU Extra live from CC's Pizza in Marshall, Texas, here on the ETBU Sportsnet. Thank you for clicking in this afternoon. Still to come on the show, we'll talk to Kendall Robertson, running back for the Tigers, as well as head coach Lindsey Mash from Tiger Volleyball, and the soccer coach, head coach Paul Grant. Mike Midkiff along with Jason Souls here, where each Wednesday while we're here doing the show, you can get the buffet for $5, which includes the drink. Well, Coach, now let's move on and talk about your opponent coming up Saturday night at Ornelas. It's homecoming, 6 p.m. kickoff against Howard Payne University. Howard Payne jumped out to a 3-win season at the very beginning, and they've lost their last 2. Of course, their last loss was Texas Lutheran, who you lost to. What do you expect from the Yellow Jackets as they come into Ornelas Saturday night?
Well, I'll tell you, Mike, first of all, I'm kind of getting spoiled. I mean, when I see the Tigers, we got a home game, man, I start getting excited really, really early in the week. That Ornelas State has been rocking more and more every week, and it's been kind of fun. And I know winning helps that, but I know when they're in the stands, it helps us win it too. And so Tiger Alley will be rocking this weekend with all the homecoming festivities going on, and Tiger Walk 2 hours before kickoff at 4 o'clock. It's just going to be a great environment. And what an outstanding opponent we have coming in. You got an opponent that opened up the season with 3 straight wins. Man, we're off to a phenomenal start. So it kind of makes me nervous a little bit there, but I played some like opponents, some similar opponents, lost a very similar fashion to TOU. They're a good football team, Howard Payne. And, offensively, they kind of got a 3-headed monster. Their running back, Dove, is a really, really good running back. He went off last year against us, did a good job. Their quarterback is an outstanding young man from Gunter, Texas, and North Texas, right there north of Metroplex. He does a really good job distributing the football, much like Josh does. And he's the difference, I guess, in the offense is they've got a main receiver in number 80, I believe his last name is Micah, and he is a phenomenal receiver, and he just makes big catches, and deceptively fast. He catches it, and you think he's fixing to get tackled, and all of a sudden he's sitting in the end zone. I'm going like, holy cow, watching film. And so offensively, they got a three-headed monster that defense is going to have a hard time stopping, and we've got to really get set in and locked in early and then finish a game on a good offense. Not just play a good first half like we did last week and holding TLU to 14 points in one half. We got to put another half behind that. And so we've really been focusing on trying to do that defensively. And then offensively, they are a different scheme than what we've seen. We've seen a lot of these 4-down fronts here recently, and but they are a 3-down front. They're a 3-4 by nature. So it will give us some different looks. We've been really trying to focus on that in practice this week. Hopefully our offensive line can handle those adjustments and different blitzes they see from different looks. And we can get our run game going again, which always helps our passing game, and with more defenders dropped in those passing lanes.
Is it a little more difficult with a team like Howard Payne, or is it easier when you play TLU? They're 60% run. Who's getting the ball. You kind of know. I mean, they do it exceptionally well. But Howard Payne's going to spread it out. Is it easier for your defense because those kids are like, stay home, the ball could be coming your way, be ready, pay attention, those kind of things?
I think you got to be a little bit more sound defensively and play the whole field more. TLU, we knew who was getting the ball, and we did everything we could to stop that young man. And against these guys, it'll be, they move 80. He just doesn't line up at one receiver spot. They'll have 4 receiver spots out there, and he could be anywhere. So we've got to find and identify where he's in, and then we've also got to lock it on the box because that running back there is very special. So yeah, it'll be a little different this week. We got to play all 53 to 30 yards wide of that field and really have some sound technique in our defense.
When I left Marshall Hall yesterday, I could hear you down on the football practice field, all the way up on the hill, and it sounded like practice was going very well. Has the wetness kind of hampered any preparation this week, or how are preparations coming for the game against Howard Payne Saturday?
The good Lord's been really, really good to us. He's given us rain when we needed it, which is when we weren't playing at home and days we weren't practicing. We got a monsoon Monday night, and yesterday was a little bit sloppy up there on top of that practice field, but it drained pretty good. We got really good grass fields here at ETBU, and our grounds crew does a phenomenal job. So we went out there. Young men had a good day of practice yesterday. They flew around and did some good things on defense and start getting that offense, trying to get geared up and have another good week of performance.
Got one last question for you, Coach, before we bring Kendall Robertson in, your running back in. When the fans come to Ornella Saturday night to watch you play Howard Payne, as a fan sitting in the stand, kind of give us a cue into something that we could look for that's kind of special that, hey, if that's working, it's going to be a good night for the Tigers.
Well, I mean, the first, offensively, everybody likes to see us score touchdowns. I say it's this. When we open up a possession, if we get that first down pretty easily, then all of a sudden our offense gets on a roll. If we struggle, when you kind of watch our offense, if we struggle and we're fighting hard to get that first down, it takes us a little bit longer to get going. It's going to be the next series, and that's one thing we've been really working on the past couple of weeks. Really, is eliminating 3-and-outs offensively. And but with the pace of our offense, we're trying to go fast. We're trying to snap the football extremely quickly. But that all comes down to first downs. So when those chains are moving and we're getting first downs, then it's fixing to come. That big play's fixing to come, and you're fixing to stand up and you're fixing to hit a fight song, and we're all going to be excited.
All right.
And defensively, you can just kind of watch by our tempo. If those young men, if the ball carrier's tackled and there's about 6 or 7 or 8 blue helmets around it, that means the Tigers came to play.
All right. So, fans, look for that Saturday night as the Tigers play Howard Payne. Coach Ergel, thank you for your time today on ETBU Extra. We're going to bring in Kendall Robertson to talk next after the break. Tigers play Howard Payne homecoming game. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. Saturday night at Ornella's here in beautiful Marshall, Texas. Back with more ETBU Extra in just a moment.